We are here checking out the Nitro drop in a 149. So the Nitro drop is a fun all-mountain directional ride that comes with a positive camber to a early rise on the nose and the tail. It kind of lives in that directional all-mountain style ride that is, you know, good for riding all over the mountain, good for the groomers, and good for powder as well. So the drop comes with Nitro's Camber Profile. So there's camber in between the feet / under the bindings going to rocker on the nose and the tail. It also comes with power pods, which are the side cut disruption that Nitro uses to just add a little bit extra edge hold for harder snow. The drop in a 149 has a 239mm waist width, so it has a little bit of a wider platform underfoot, but not too much to where it feels slow to turn. It still feels fast to turn for me, it still feels responsive, and it also comes with a sintered base that's going to keep you gliding fast. The drop has a stable all-mountain flex. It has a 6 out of 10 flex that's stable and adds nice dampness to the board, but not too stiff to where it's hard to turn. I feel like it's a nice, happy medium flex for an all-mountain board. I've ridden this board a few times, but I got to ride it in pretty full-on spring conditions here in Mammoth. You know, it was icy in the morning, going to like that magic 1 hour of the perfect softness of snow, and then going into just like your pretty average California spring slush. And you know, I liked the drop in all of those conditions, and that's why the drop is a favorite on the site. I feel like it handles very consistently throughout a lot of different conditions. The power pods mixed with the positive camber and the stability of the board really help it to hold a nice edge on ice. You get a nice contact with the snow in hard conditions and in groomers and stuff like that. And then it is more directional, and it has a setback of 20 mil. So you get a little bit of that surfy type ride, a little bit of that directional feeling ride without it feeling too over the top surfy. It's somewhere in the middle. So it makes for a really smooth turning board that is consistent in a lot of different terrain situations. So the drop on steeps is very reliable. You get that nice edge hold on the steep terrain. You get a nice connection to the snow without it feeling too locked in. It has that 6 out of 10 flex that keeps it stable, but it also is maneuverable enough to make smaller turns if you need to really take the speed off or fit through some tight rock spots or something like that. And then bringing that into powder, I actually have never been able to ride this board on a powder day, unfortunately. Maybe someday, but it just has like a very nice profile and a very nice feel. I feel like it has some good ingredients to make a nice powder board, you know, and not like a full-on powder board, but enough to where you can get by in most storm days without switching your board out. You do get the option to set it back, which just adds to the amount of float that you can get, but it's already directional. It's already set back. You get a little tiny bit of taper in the tail, and also like a directional tail as well. You get the early rise in the nose with this directional shaped nose. It'll ride better than a directional twin because it is more directional, so you get that benefit of having an all-mountain board that you don't have to switch out to ride on a powder day. But you can ride switch. The tail isn't that like connected and it's not that directional, so you definitely can ride switch, and that kind of opens it up for that all-mountain freestyle type riding. So it's not just a directional board. You can also play with it a little bit if you'd like. I feel like it has a nice amount of pop. You get a nice amount of pop out of it because of the positive camber and the nice flex. Great for natural hits, great for little rock drops, or you know, just dropping off at the side of the groomer or something. You get a nice stable takeoff and a nice stable platform to land on. And then bringing it down to groomers, I feel like this board, you know, it can make small radius turns, but it likes that medium radius turn. and maybe even large if you want to like open the turns up a bit. But what I like about the Nitro drop is that you don't have to ride it fast to enjoy it. You can just kind of cruise around if you want and make some really fun, smooth turns, or you can turn it up a notch and ride it harder and it still performs good. So I like that it's not, you know, only for that aggressive charger, but you can be an aggressive rider and still ride it. And it's not only for that intermediate kind of mellow rider, it can be for the more advanced expert rider as well. You can definitely carve this board. The slightly wider waist width with the nice stable flex and the positive camber, it just allows for a really fun board to carve. You can lay it over or you can make mellow carves, but yeah, the Nitro drop's super fun to carve. It has a nice speed to it without feeling too aggressive, so you can ride quickly on this board. It'll stay stable, you won't get a bunch of chatter, but you can also, like I said, ride it mellowly, and it's okay with that too. So that just kind of adds to the versatility of who this board might be for. When I ride the drop, I don't really notice that it has that directional shape. I begin to notice it more in like softer snow conditions, you know, or something like that. But like when you're riding it on Groomers, you don't notice that it is a full-on directional board, but you get the benefits of it. I enjoyed riding the drop off-piste, through trees, and also in moguls. It is responsive enough and nimble enough to turn in tight spots, but honestly it's stable enough to charge through some chunder or some weird bumpy cruddy snow. It just has a nice feel, and it just comes from that balance of being the stability, but also like being maneuverable at the same time. So who is the Nitro drop for? Well, I feel like it is for that intermediate to advanced expert rider. It is friendly enough for an intermediate rider to get on and kind of grow their riding and push their riding. You know, it's going to give you a nice stable platform. It's enough board and it has enough performance to, I feel like, please the advanced expert rider as well. It is a versatile all-mountain directional board, so if you would rather ride directional and you don't ride switch that much and you want that added float for powder days or deeper snow, then the drop's good for that. But you know, it doesn't take life too seriously, so you still get a little bit of leeway there to play around and kind of explore the mountain. So that's the Nitro drop in a 149.